My name is David Carlos. I am the owner and manager at Victoria Air Photos and Survey. And I've been flying drones since 2013 in Canada, a wide variety of complex operations, and have probably well over 3,500 hours of drone flying time at my experience. And I've really grown with this industry. So I wanted to share with the public at large, and to especially our corporate customers and so on, why they should reconsider doing an in-house drone program rather than trying to hire it out. And I really feel that there's a good reason to reconsider that if you're considering buying a drone and then doing it in-house rather than contracting it out. I'm a firm believer that you should contract out the drone services to a reliable and reputable drone service provider who already has the equipment and the know-how. And I'll just go over a few points why I believe that. One of the things I want to just say here, and these are my main points, is don't buy into all the promotions and misleading advertising from aggressive marketing campaigns by either dealers or by DJI themselves. They have a very, very aggressive propaganda machine that is designed to lure in clients from all walks of life. I argue we shouldn't buy into that. Consider the upfront costs and the huge scale difference between drone capability and what their size is and what their RTK capability is or is not, and then their limitations. And then consider the training commitment of getting an in-house program going, the cost and the duration of the use of the drone. Safety, consider the safety risks of task saturation and again, the frequency of use. And then support local business contractors and help to stop drone proliferation. So we'll just go quickly over these points as we move along. Marketing and promotion. DJI and others are experts at selling and targeted sales. We really caution people to watch out for false propaganda and that systems are user-friendly or that anyone can fly them, right? The CEO of DJI, I believe, once said he wants everybody in the world to fly drones. We don't need everybody to fly drones. That's one disturbing world to live in if that were remotely the case. Everybody doesn't have to have the technology. And in fact, we believe it should be specialized folks that are trained in this and that know the systems, the capabilities, what to watch out for, how to respect privacy and data collection, and so on. Watch out for bogus training programs is another point. Here that have these programs for training programs. So buy their drone and they'll give you a training program. Well, what is it, right? Is it some online thing and that offers a shortcut? I argue there is no shortcut. There is no shortcut for training. I could testify that being comfortable with drones now is something that took me years to get comfortable with. It's not something that can happen on a weekend course or in a couple days. Getting your paperwork and data together is critically important as part of your requirement as an advanced pilot, for example. Watch out for drones that may seem inexpensive but offer low-grade data collection. So maybe your budget's not $60,000, but maybe it's $10,000. Well, what does that mean? Like, what's the difference between the data between a $10,000 drone and a $60,000 drone, or with a $1,000 drone? They can all produce data, they can all collect data, but what's the difference? And there's just a huge scale there, and we've had to learn the hard way that you don't want to get into a bad quality drone or it yields you bad results in the end, which is not good. Keep in mind, you can't take it back. Try to find a dealer that'll take back a drone once you buy it. Okay, it's not like Costco's return policy here. Okay, you're stuck with it, right? And my argument is why? Why do you want to be stuck with it? Contract out the services to people that know this stuff the best. Consider the upfront cost of a drone. As I threw some numbers around there, $10,000, $30,000, $40,000, $60,000. That is a huge upfront expense. And it's so expensive, especially given that you could mainly use it a handful of times a year, as some of our customers have said. Some customers use our drone services only a couple times a year. Why would they even consider doing an in-house program given that reality? Keep in mind, drones have a short shelf life. You may have bought a drone last year and already have learned that it is outdated. And this is only after you've put in a couple hours on it, maybe, of flight time. So they have a short shelf life. New technology comes along, new players and competition comes along and completely rewrites the rules of the game. So that something like that could happen this year or next year. That'll render all this equipment, including the M300 and its sensors, obsolete by some new technology. So that is a basic law that we go with, where everything doubles in its capacity roughly every 2 years. And so that is another reason not to buy a drone and get into an in-house program when you're not going to use it that often. Some drone systems complete ready to survey grade with survey grade data sensors could easily run $50,000 to $60,000. Now, who wants to put that up? Just to use a drone a couple times when you can hire it out. And then also understand and consider the upfront cost and time for proper training, and for upkeep of these drones, for upgrades. If you don't use it, it still needs to be maintained. It needs to be upgraded. And that can be a very time-consuming, frustrating process as a drone user, is to make sure you have a proper maintenance program on it. Batteries wear out just by sitting there. Batteries can wear out over time. So again, they have a shelf life as well as the drone itself as it gets older. Consider the training commitment, okay? We have been, as I said, flying complex drone operations since 2013. And I can testify that we are still learning and improving new techniques to this day. Like just working with my clients a couple of weeks ago, we have figured out a new way to do it. And it's challenging. It is challenging to fly in this new way that we have discovered. And it's more risky. But again, with my experience, knowledge, and equipment, I'm able to do it safely without crashing the drone into persons or property, which at some of the sites we attend could have been a very real possibility. So where does that leave the prospective pilot just starting out, or someone that's completely green, or somebody that's just been playing around with a little Mavic Mini, right? They are going to be a high risk factor. And I argue, who has time to study RPAS Transport Canada legalities of air law for advanced RPAS operations? You look at the material there, we're dealing with hundreds of pages of material that is a requirement to learn for advanced RPAS operations. And if you don't have an RPAS certificate, then you're flying completely illegally. And you could be dealing with things like police attendants asking for documentation and then being reported to Transport Canada and fined. So, at best. So, the advanced RPAS thing is not easy, and there is no shortcut to it. It takes time and dedication, experience, and equipment to put all the pieces together. So, and this is especially for those working in another profession. You're a survey crew, you're a survey technician, you're working for an engineering firm, you're a roofer, right? Stick to what you do best, right? Leave the piloting and flying to those of us that are in this study. And we can bring our expertise together and work for the better for all of those that are rolling out this technology. Even our intense training program, one thing I am involved in is a training program. I've trained thousands of students that are either practicing RPAS operations now around British Columbia, or who are prospecting to do it still. And I can tell you that even after our intense training program, it rarely prepares students for the advanced flight review immediately after. There's just too much data to collect, too many checklists and things you need to know how to do, like air navigation, meteorology, terminology, and so on. So that is just saying that it's not instant, right? It's not, you can't just pay for a course and then think you're going to be an advanced pilot. It doesn't work like that. And anybody or any dealer that tells you that is misleading you. So don't buy into that. It is difficult stuff. It is not easy to do it safely and to do it properly. It's very difficult, right? When you're flying a drone, say with a $30,000 LiDAR sensor on it, you're working out a three-dimensional problem on the ground with an aircraft that is flying through real airspace over persons or property or highways or what have you. It's or in an airspace system where there could be other manned aircraft in the vicinity. It's something that is very, very serious and very challenging, and that we never ever would take lightly. And that brings us to the safety risks of task saturation. Now, this is something we've seen. I've done videos on this issue and how it has led to actually collision situations. Okay. And again, the frequency of use, right? You're going to be task saturated because you can't do everything at once. So somebody can't do a precision land survey dealing with all the issues on the ground and then be able to also do a precision drone survey in a safe manner at the same time. It's going to, well, I should say you can do it, but your level of tasks will be saturated. And so the bottom line, when you are task saturated, you can do it, but it's not going to be the same quality and your risk is going to go up. That is absolutely a case that we can cite based on the accident that happened in Buttonville, Ontario, where a police department, a thoroughly trained police department will do everything by the book, crashed into an aircraft on an approach to a runway. So the argument is, if that can happen to a police department, where does that leave some other firm in the area that bought a drone from Best Buy and is out there doing a operation with somebody that's ill-trained? So understand, every time you send a drone up in the air, there's a risk factor. And that, again, has a sliding scale based on the size of the drone, and the variety of threats that it can produce is based largely upon that. So my assertion here is, why place that risk on yourself and company? Why place that stress on yourself and company when you can contract out a licensed and insured drone service provider like us to do it for you? Okay. Why be task saturated and risk poor quality service and end product results in addition to safety risk? I've seen many drone buyers only ever use it a few times. Others I have seen not even get it out of the box. I've seen professional organizations buy drones and never even get them out of the box because they finally figured out they needed to be certified. The higher up said, "What do you mean you're not certified?" The insurance company they deal with says, "What do you guys mean you're not certified?" And so they got put in check because of that. Or other stuff. Maybe they didn't even know the first step to unbox it and get the thing going. Maybe they didn't have time to unbox it. Whatever the reason, I have seen that with my very eyes, and so I'm just warning you to not make that same mistake. And lastly, we're going to ask you to support local business, contractors, and help stop drone proliferation. There was a job I did there with the M300 on a Canadian contract supply ship for the Royal Canadian Navy. And we were doing what? We were looking at anti-drone technology and testing it. I was the pilot. The engineers were testing anti-drone radar technology, as you can see up in here, this area there. There is one there. There's another one over there, and so on. They can detect anything from flying birds to a little mini toy, DJI mini toy drone flying around the area. And so we have a problem with drones being proliferated. So the answer is to stop buying them, okay? And letting them end up in junk heaps. We at VPAP have been in business for years and take our practice extremely seriously. And I must say, we do depend on the loyalty and patronage of our clients to continue to improve our services and product while keeping costs down. And in the drone business, we're not merely focused on money, but we're focused on bringing out the betterment of drone technology, using it to be employed to save lives, using it to as a means to improve safety and wellness of other people. So don't be pressured into buying drones from anybody or by aggressive salesmen that want to sell you a product, and not just one product, but they want to sell everybody a product because they are involved with the proliferation. And it is a huge problem we face heading into the future with hostile nations. There is some serious diplomatic issues going on and military issues going on. And you don't need to read very far to really get a taste of reality that on NOTAMs, there is restricted airspace for foreign aircraft from the Russian Federation at this time as we speak. And there are a lot of different problems. And the United States has a bill on the floor concerning DJI and how they are suspected of controlling and collecting data. Now some people might say that's just politics, but I've just told you that Russian airspace, our Canadian airspace, is closed to Russian airspace, and then you hear reports that China is supporting Russia with its war effort, and you can quickly see we have problems that we need to deal with, okay, concerning the proliferation of this technology. Every company who chooses to buy a drone and do this in-house program and like save $1 or whatever, or try to streamline their operations, means less work for us drone service providers, while it enriches places like the CCP and other overseas governments and companies. The dealer will make a very small fraction of a markup on any sale of a DJI equipment. And so you're really supporting a overseas government by using a drone program. And then when you crash it, then you buy another one. You crash it, buy another one. And so it just creates a vicious cycle of consumerism and buying these products. When we have it ready for you, when we have it absolutely fine-tuned, we can do it for you. And lastly, I just point out that we are seeking to upgrade our drone fleet with locally or USA-made drones, okay? And I want to do everything I can to get away from the DJI monopoly of their drones and find something that is even more capable, or at least similarly capable to the DJI equipment that we now fly. So there's my presentation. Support local business and continue to give us a call and let us do this work for you. And then you can save yourself a lot of time, stress, and money in the process. I must disclose this is only our opinion based on what we have seen in the industry as of late. There are many variables and new questions being asked in the drone world, and there are fewer good answers. There are so many questions surrounding drones and their proliferation. Drones are powerful aircraft and should be respected and handled legally at all times. They should never be looked at as toys or something just to have fun with or to try to get a look at something. We submit that some companies may have success with in-house programs, but believe that is an exception. As I mentioned, police departments have gotten into serious trouble with drone collisions and so on. I can't describe into words after all the time I've been flying how easy it is to have a drone mishap. Anti-drone collision avoidance sensors on drones do not pick up things like hydro wires or other obstacles that don't have quite the right lighting, and I've seen them not work at all before. So there are many false securities in the drone world as well that may tempt you to buy it because you think it won't crash into something. That is a false belief. It will crash into something. I have video proof to prove that it will crash into obstacles, even with the obstacle avoidance sensors. So the lesson is to hire us or others that are qualified, that have a report, that have a good track record, that have good reviews, that are members of the Better Business Bureau, that have accountability in their own community, that they can indeed do what they promise they can do. And try to resist that, we can do it all mentality. Pay the money and then we'll push a button and then everything will work. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned. And I'd love your comments to see what you would think about this and what your feedback is on it. But we need to really get people educated out there to help them from being victims of this proliferation.